everybody. It's Tony. Welcome to this week's edition of Pastors and Cars. We're not really getting donuts at this point. I'm on hole 30. I know Morgan's on hole 30. Brandon Beals has been on hole 30 for like 5 years now. So we'll see. My name is Tony. I'm sitting in a 2002 Toyota Highlander.
Yes, my name is Brandon. I am still sitting in my 2015 Audi A4, still hoping that I get to replace this for something cooler.
My name is Morgan Butcher, and I'm a little upset that Brandon feels like his car is not cool enough because my car is about to blow up.
And my name is John Boore, and I'm sitting in a 2004 paid-off Ford Explorer Sports Track. It's awesome. I like it. I don't care what you say about my car. It's legit.
Love it. Paid off, baby. Cash is king.
Yeah.
Now, Pastor John is our guest today. Pastor John is a pastor out in Las Vegas, and excited to have him. Pastor John, why don't you tell us about your history with Pastor Brandon?
I have none. Thanks, guys. Good times. No.
Hey, it's been real, man. Thanks for your time.
That was a joke. Pastor Brandon is a legend. He's a legend in my heart and in my wife's heart. We interned with Pastor Brandon. I don't even have the dates anymore. I think it was maybe 2000 or 99 to 2001 or something like that. When he was in Modesto, California at Calvary Temple Worship Center, which is now the House Modesto. We learned a lot about ministry from Pastor Brandon. Really were able to get hands-on. He was the first person to kind of let us really get hands-on with ministry. And that's the best way I learned. I know people learn in different ways. I learned by getting in the mix, making mistakes, having people help you. And so we grew from him. And him and Pastor Glenn kind of helped us with our first ministry assignment in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. What? Insane. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Come on, man. That's a different vibe. But man, we love Pastor Brandon. He's a big deal to us. He's taught us a lot. So we still try to do as much as we can to honor him, call him. He's one of my go-to advice dudes. He's down the road a little bit in ministry experience. So we like to holler at him, get his take on things, and it's 99.5% good advice.
That is true.
He's like
very true.
99.9.
The 0.05 where you're like, what in the world?
One of the things you should ask John is my one friend that has worked in every state in America. You should literally ask him about all the places that he's been in ministry. He's been all over the globe.
Where have you been?
I've been in a multitude of regions. I don't know about every actual state. I've almost been to every state in the country. I just need North Dakota and Alaska. But I have been in...
You don't need to go there.
No, when you're this close to 50 states, when you're 48 to 50, now it's just a mission, y'all. Now I'm like, I don't even really care about North Dakota or Alaska, but I just want to tick it off the list. But I have been in Vegas now twice. I have been in Chambersburg, PA. I have been in Tampa Bay, Florida. And we have been in America, Houston, Texas. So we hit the regions. We did a thing, Get around a little bit. Different cultures, different cities, different people, different places. Good food everywhere you go.
Of all the places you've been to, what was the I will never go back? Not maybe because of the ministry, maybe because you didn't like that city, or Tampa Bay? Was it Tallahassee?
No. Are you saying I would never go back because there's something wrong with the city? Or it's just man?
Yeah, you know how people will be like, I drove through South Dakota once. That was enough.
Like that. I thought you meant place I've been in ministry. I was like, y'all trying to get me in trouble here? Y'all trying to get me jacked up with people? Dang, y'all. It's gotcha. What is this? Probably rolling through Nebraska. I don't know that I'd do that again. I don't know that there's really a reason that me personally ever has to go to the state of Nebraska again. It wasn't for me. Maybe it's for you, or to those that may be watching this living in Nebraska, God bless you. But man, it just wasn't my scene, y'all. It was just too flat. It was too repetitive. You could only see so many cornfields before you're like, yo, can I get like anything different? Can I get a city of some kind? Man, I had never been through so many like one-stop towns ever. And then that makes me nervous because I'm used to population, and when I don't see people out, I want to know why I'm the only one out or what I have just drove through. And so I think the long answer to that short question would be to be
There it
impressed.
is.
So
Yeah.
have you ever driven through Iowa?
I have. Iowa and Nebraska had the same feel, but I felt like Nebraska was longer. And so it was a longer version of Iowa.
So when I drove through Iowa, Di and I were really excited to go to the Field of Dreams site, you know, where they filmed that movie.
Yeah.
And that was really cool, except I was driving a convertible Mini and the convertible top broke and would stay down, which I didn't think was a problem because we were in the middle of the summer. But then while we were at the Field of Dreams site, a tornado showed up. I'm no joke. It was like rain like I've never seen. And so I have horrible memories of getting stranded in Iowa with a convertible top that wouldn't go up in a tornado. So,
But you have a history of getting stranded in random places with cars. I'm surprised you even want to do this interview in a car.
that is really, really true. Well, the car's not on, so that might have something to do with it. So, hey, just out of curiosity, John, what's your favorite memory so far being in Vegas?
I think getting the church open, it's kind of like we always had this thing where we knew that we would either, lead pastor a church or take over a church. And as you know, you planted a church. And so when you get to that opening day and it's open, because before you plan it, you're always like, dude, is anybody going to come to this? Is this going to be terrible? Was this the worst decision that I ever made in my entire life? So you're running through these scenarios in your head just to have that moment where it got open and people actually showed up, and you just start this like journey of like doing your part to reach a city. As hard as church planting is in a city like Vegas, it's still, man, it's kind of like, wow, we did it. God was with us. He was faithful, and we got the thing open, man. There's still people with us today that was there from day one. And that's a cool experience if you've ever planted a church, because, not everybody's going to stay around. That's how it goes in any church. But to have those people that were like, man, we showed up on day one. We didn't even know you. Man, we got your mailer, or we saw something on social media. We had people sitting out on the streets holding signs like they do for new homes, like flipping signs around. And so that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
That's right.
For me, I still remember the very first service. I don't think as a church planner you ever forget it, because you sit there and you wonder, why are people here? Why did they come? It makes no sense. They should not be here.
Right.
I feel that way every Wednesday night.
So can I ask him one other thing, Tony? I actually have two other
Go
questions.
for it, man.
Okay, so this is just kind of a random one, non-ministry. John and Morgan, will you guys take off your hats? Just for a
I
second.
knew this was coming, man.
I
knew it
these
was
two
coming, too.
guys are each other's twins.
That's so
That
cute.
is a
Everybody
good
says,
looking man. That's an
I was
attractive
going to
man
say the
over there.
same. I was
Very
thinking the same
attractive.
thing looking down. You
Man,
got a nice bald head,
All right.
John.
I do. It's amazing. It is like,
so I don't know what
I
it
worked hard
is
at this.
with my staff and people from Vegas. Everybody thinks Morgan looks like John Boore and Tony looks like Benny Perez.
Oh, here.
there's some truth there.
John, let me
I
show
can't
you.
get these glasses on. Here we go.
Do I look like Benny Perez? I mean, the mustache throws it off.
You do. I mean, you look more like Benny with the glasses off. But you do look like Benny Perez.
Can I tell you the story when I met Benny Perez?
Yes.
So I was at that conference where I was all alone and you sat with me. Do you remember that?
Man, it's my heart for people, bro. It's my heart for people.
I remember when I texted you and you saw me and we sat together in the back because I had no friends and I was down there for a conference that I didn't know anyone at. Anyways, when that conference, I went up to Pastor Benny Perez. I said, Pastor Benny, I flew down from Seattle. You know my lead pastor really well. And he goes, yeah, I know, Brandon. I said, people say all the time, you and I look alike. I kid you not, this was his reaction. He goes, huh. And then he just walked away. I thought I legit,
That means he agreed.
As if I offended him. I was so nervous.
You might have offended him.
I thought I can never come back to this conference.
As long as you pay,
As
long as you pay, you can come back.
Oh, I paid.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you paid, you're good.
I even bought a merch.
Anybody you want.
I even bought a T-shirt.
All right, one of my favorite things about John Boore, especially in his youth days, I mean, he's this way now as a lead pastor too, but he is one of the most creative guys. I mean, he comes up with unbelievable ideas. He had, I'll let him describe it, but I'll tell you when I reproduced it at my church. So it was this illustration using goldfish, and it so offended my city that PETA showed up and protested my services for 3 weeks following using John's
I remember
goldfish
that.
idea. Yeah.
Whoops.
So John, why don't you tell
that.
them your idea that offended PETA?
I did this. I did this in places too, and it offended people, primarily in California. But the gist of the illustration was you have a tank full of goldfish on stage. I mean, they're little 8-cent feeder fish, and you kind of make this illustration that the fish are lost people, and it's really a call to the church. The idea behind it is it's supposed to be a call to the church to reach people who need Jesus, right? And so you're doing this illustration. There's a bunch of fish in the tank, and I was supposed to be the devil. I'm yelling at the fish. I'm punching the fish tank. Like, that's what the devil does. You know, and the illustration is, but this is what the devil's really trying to do. At the bottom of the tank, there's a gigantic net. And so you pull up all these goldfish out of the tank, and then all the kids in the crowd are like, oh my God, what are you doing? So then I start screaming at the fish. I'm talking trash to the fish. I'm like, your mom, we're going to get, you know, and like, you're doing all this stuff. And I said, what the devil's really trying to do to your friends is this. And you throw the fish all over the stage. And then the shock factor, yeah, whatever. Come at me, PETA. The shock factor is pretty high. And I'm like, this is what the enemy is trying to do to your friends. And the fish are flapping around. And I'm like, pointing to the fish. I'm like, these are your friends. And then I point back to the fish tank and saying, that's the church. And nobody does anything. These are your friends. That's the church. And I start screaming like a wild person. I'm like, are you going to let your friends die? Somebody do something. Then there's always like that one brave kid that jumps up, and they all start grabbing all the fish and throwing them back into the tank. And it's like controlled chaos. And inevitably, there's always 1 or 2 fish or 10 fish that die. And so I pick the dead fish up, and I'm like, look, some of you right now are more upset about this dead feeder fish than you were about reaching your friends. You're more upset that this fish died, that you got a school out there that needs Jesus. And usually that kind of turns it like, oh, you know, it's a little heavy-handed. You know, it's a little much. But usually it's this illustration about, you know, doing what we have to do to reach people, because people without Jesus, you know, spiritually speaking, the Bible says that they're not alive. And so, you know, and I'm like, this is a feeder fish. You guys are more concerned about this fish than you are your friends. What are you gonna do about your friends? You know, I had some kids in California that were like, that is messed up. What are you gonna do with these fish? I'm like, you can take them home if you want. I think you want to know what my plans are for the fish afterwards.
There's a garbage can with the name on them.
I did the
John,
illustration once, and then I had to explain to PETA afterwards for 2 weeks that these fish were created simply to be fed to other fish. They were created to die, but that didn't help.
Sorry.
I've got a feeling that on Instagram highlights all over the place for the next week, we're going to see youth pastors with the little 15-second snippets on Instagram Live yelling at kids with fish dying on the ground.
I don't know if I would do it today. I don't know if I'd do it today, but I felt like around 2003, man, you could be a lot more gangster with some of your illustrations. I feel like you can get away with stuff, man. The people now be like, that is wrong. You should not do that.
Yeah, being a youth pastor in 2020, it's a whole different ball game, man.
Yeah. I don't know that I'd recommend it.
there's a lid on you of things you can't say and things you can't do.
Well, especially
You're
right now, no one's going to be running to get those fish. I mean, you're pre-recording that service, man. Those fish are tough.
Yeah, those poor fish have met their doom if you did it.
No hope. No hope.
Now, John, Pastor Brandon says that you've like gone through some crazy stuff, and like just crazy stuff has happened to you. Would you like to share with the viewers maybe a story of a time something nuts just went off?
Oh, geez, man. There are a number of them. I'm trying to figure out which is the shortest one to tell. So I'll give you the truncated version of one of them, which was my father-in-law, is a very entrepreneurial guy. So when we were still in California, he owned a mattress delivery service. It's like back in like 1998. And it worked, man. Literally, he put ads in newspapers and people would call us, and I would show up to their houses with a Nissan short bed truck with like anywhere from 3 to 5 like full queen mattress sets, box spring and mattress. Man, I'd load them up, get a ratchet tie, crank that stuff down, man. I would drive all over the San Francisco Bay Area. But I was in Oakland. I was like on, I don't know, it's like 68th Street or Harrison or something like that in Oakland. And some dudes asked me to pull over, which wasn't that weird because sometimes people would buy a mattress right off the back of my truck, right on the side of the freeway. That's how they did it. And these dudes, I pulled off into a side street, and they were very interested in these mattresses. So they're talking to me, and this was a cash-only business. And my father-in-law, that's how he did it. He pretty much only took cash, no checks. And so I had a ton of cash in my dash. It was like the ashtray. That's where I would keep all this cash. And I guess these guys had been keeping their eye on me because they knew to pull me over. And long story short, I'm trying to sell one of these mattresses, and I noticed that somebody's in the bed of the truck. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, hang on." I opened my door. This guy had his hand on all the cash. And so I just determined he wasn't going to rob me. I didn't want him taking the money. I probably shouldn't have done that. I wouldn't recommend my kids do this. And so I grabbed him. He grabbed me. We get into a bit of a tussle, if you will. It basically was a very intense argument of me telling him you're not taking the money and him telling me that he was. And I was like, you're not. He said he was. And then before long, I feel a sharp pain on my right side because his friend, it's not funny. It was, it's funny now. His friends had gone into their car and were hitting me with tire chains to get me to let go. And they were hitting me with tire chains, and I still wasn't letting go. And they were hitting me in the ribs and hitting me in the back, and he's punching me in the head, and I'm getting mad. I have this thing with people touching my face or hitting me in the face. I go into like Hulk mode. I'm a pretty calm dude. I really am. I'm not a real like angry guy. I don't have roid rage or anything, but you hit me in my face and something kicks in. So I wasn't gonna let go. And before long, I was hitting the horn, like I was hitting with my shoulders. Man, out of nowhere, 3 of the biggest Samoan dudes came out of nowhere because we stopped in front of the house. They came to my rescue. But you want to know what? They didn't get the money, y'all. What's up?
Come on.
but they did break about 5 ribs. And you want to know what? I should have just let the money. I should have let it go. I was stupid. I don't know what I was thinking.
Thank God for the Samoans, man.
Yeah, right. Come on, man. They were like Chiefs, bro. They were like offensive linemen. They were so awesome.
It was just another day at the office selling mattresses.
Yeah, in Oakland. That's how it goes.
So, this is, again, you've been in Vegas for most of your ministry now, those 2 different seasons. What's ministry like in Vegas?
I think like every city, it's hard. It's got its challenges. The culture of the city creates some challenges that are unique. Gaming drives the city, which is why, with nothing being open right now, Vegas is getting hit particularly hard. and it's very transient. It's not a city that people end up wanting to stay in long term for whatever reason. And so you deal with a lot of people coming and going, try it for a couple years, go back to wherever they're from. So it has its challenges, but man, the great thing about it is kind of probably like Seattle, which is when people take that step of faith, the churchy word behind it is when they get saved. When they take that faith step, it's amazing to watch somebody from day one when they don't have a lot of church background. And that's what you can get in a city like Vegas and like Seattle, which is they don't have this pre-programming, this churchy pre-programming. You really get to create and help them create the construct of who Jesus is and who God can be in their life. And so why it's hard, it's amazing at the same time, because you're really getting to help people walk this journey, and they're hearing things for the first time, and they're learning things for the first time, and they're experiencing things for the first time. It's to me, it's kind of cool where you can literally take Bible stories that if somebody has a church background, you can reference, something that we all know, like Moses or whatever, and they not know it. And get to see that experience the first time and watch and go, wow, I saw like the 10 Commandments, I saw the movie, but to hear some of the other like gospel nuances is really cool. And so you get to have that journey with people, and that's really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it's dope.
That's so awesome. Yeah. Is your church made up just of like, obviously, praise God, all these people are finding Jesus at your church. Is it just made up of all sorts of people, backgrounds, like people working in the gaming industry and all sorts of stuff?
Yeah, it's a great mix. Brandon can tell you he preaches for us, quite a bit. We like to have him when he come, but it's a great mix of young, old. It's racially diverse. It's awesome. Age diverse. It's economically diverse. You got some business owners who are doing well, and some people that are just starting out in life, and everything in between. And so there is some great diversity. People that work in casinos, don't work in casinos, and everything in between. Teachers, realtors. It's a pretty cool makeup. It's cool to see what God has done and how He's brought people together.
Man, awesome. Man.
Yeah, it's cool.
Pastor John, we're so thankful that you made time to be here. And I was thinking this entire time you were interviewing, you said it was like 90 degrees. I was like, I hope to God his air conditioning is on. Because if it's not, thanks for using up all that gas, man, to be on the show today. Well, send TV the check. He'll reimburse you.
We'll do.
He would be honored.
No, it's been great.
And we miss Vegas. We feel stranded in Mill Creek right now.
I know. As soon as it opens up, I don't know when it'll be, but when it does, come on, let's go.
John was one of the last people we hung out with before all this happened.
He legitimately was. Have they said when casinos are going to open in Vegas? Have they given you any idea?
No. The governor of Nevada is coming on in an hour or two, but they said that he's going to extend the stay-at-home order. I just think casinos is going to be the last thing to open, especially in Vegas, because of like the international and national destination that Vegas is. I think he has to take some extra precautions to make sure that you can't just factor in Nevada. I think he has to factor in what the virus is doing nationally, because, if you got a bunch of people who are still carrying the virus and they come into Vegas and then it spreads to the workers, and then, so he's got to be more precautious, I think, and so, he may be taking some heat for that, but I think he really does have to really make sure it's okay because of like the destination that Vegas is.
So what is it? Have you driven up the Vegas Strip? Is it just completely
I've done it.
empty?
It is. It's the weirdest thing. I've done it 3 times just to like, it's the oddest thing. It's just this, typically it's this hub of life and excitement and commerce and sin and everything else, but it is dead. It is dead. Like, you can sit at a stoplight and nothing is happening. But what makes it weird is all of the lights are still on, which is like this weird like juxtaposition of what Vegas was and what it is now. It's so bizarre. It's so surreal. What's weird about it is how quiet it is. Because typically if you're on the Strip at any given time, but especially at night, if you roll your windows down, it's popping. Like it's loud. Yeah. To roll your windows down, and I'm like on like a just a residential street right now. It is as quiet as it is in your neighborhood. It is weird, man. It's strange.
Are you allowed to walk the strip?
Yeah, you can walk. You can. They don't want you getting anywhere near the casinos. Every casino has a guard or like a plethora of security guarding the entrances, but you can walk around. It's weird to see like the fountains, like the lake is kind of drained. Like usually the Mirage has that like volcano show that's completely dark. So it's just weird to see it so quiet. It's almost eerie. It's a ghost town. It is such a trip.
But man, how cool is it though? Like, I mean, so unfortunate that the city is shut down, but like now Vegas can't be distracted, right? Like there's no gambling, there's no music, there's nothing. Like now, like people are sitting and wondering, like they're looking for hope. And how cool is it that you guys are able to provide that in this season, man? And just praying for you guys that you guys will reach even more people in this season. Yeah,
thanks, man. I mean, we're just one part of the equation here in Vegas, and we're all online, and so. We appreciate everybody's prayers, but also the prayer of all the other churches in this city.
Yeah.
Just reaching people and, trying to do our part collectively to do what we can to provide hope, like you were saying.
I love it, man.
Hey, can I ask one last question?
Bring it.
How are they doing with my Raider Stadium?
Oh, Lord.
Dude, it is sweet. It really is from the outside. I support the Raiders. I'm not a Raider fan per se, like you are, but I drove by it maybe 2 weeks ago. It looks like the Death Star. It is super cool, man.
It looks like a toilet bowl.
Some people said it looks like a giant Roomba. I get that too. But it is dope, man. It's like jet black with like these silver or white like lit up highlights. It's pretty cool, man. It definitely pops. To me, it's the coolest looking thing when you drive up 15. For people that don't know, Highway 15 is like it's the highway that drives along the strip. So it's really cool looking. You're gonna love it, man. You're gonna love it.
All right, I'm ready. Season tickets.
If you guys get a basketball team, I will convert my affinity from the Lakers towards you guys.
Okay.
We just need the Sonics back, man.
I know.
Need them back.
That's hard for you guys. I pray for your hearts and your souls and your minds when it comes to dealing with the loss of such an organization.
Yeah. Okay, so you can.
No more Sean Kemp's or Gary Payton's for you.
Gosh. Well, man, thanks for being on the show. We love you, brother. Say hi to your wife and your kids, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right, we'll see you.
See you, bud. Thanks, John.
See you, John.
Absolutely. It's been fun.